Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a casserole dish carrier. Okay, this is actually a rectangle one. I'll just show you what it looks like all the way around, how it fits my actual pot. And this is actually because when I was reading my comments, there was a comment by Nancy from Canada, and she said, can you make a casserole dish carrier? The answer is yes. But Nancy, you didn't say whether you wanted one for a round pot, a rectangular pot or a square pot. So this video is going to be a guide for you to be able to make one to fit whichever shaped pot you're going to be making it for, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pot out of my my carrier and I'm going to put that to one side, and I'm going to have my pot like this. I'm using a number 6mm crochet hook, which is a J10 if you're in the US, and I'm using a chunky yarn. Now you can decide whichever yarn you would like to use, but the principle is basically the same. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do my twist to get started, but you can do a slip knot if you prefer. And what we want to do is we want to make a chain to fit the pot. Now mine was I know that this one is actually 15, so I'm going to do a chain of 15 so that you can see. So that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. And what you need to do is you need to, when you're trying to measure your actual pot, make yourself a chain. Make sure you're holding your yarn really tight there, and put your finger on your hook to keep it really tight, and stretch your actual chain. And you want your chain because it needs to, when you're actually making your actual cover, it will stretch because of the weight of your actual pot and obviously all the things that go inside it. So you want it to be able to be a just fit, which 15 is, as you can see, it's a just fit. Okay, so then what you want to do then is you want to add one more chain for your turning chain, and then all you're going to do is just single crochet into underneath one strand to start off with, and you just single crochet all the way along, backwards and forwards, in your chain until you've got your actual piece of your base, your fabric, to be 1/2 inch shorter than your actual pot. The reason why I've said 1/2 inch shorter is because I'm just going to get my little sample here to show you. Whoop. Just knock everything flying. Is when you're actually making the single crochet backwards and forwards, obviously we've wanted that little bit of stretch to go for going for the width. But when it comes to the actual length of it, where we're going across here, this has got more stretch. Okay, so you don't want it to be as long as your pot, because if you make it too big, it ends up too baggy and then your pot slips around. Okay, so that's how you do it, and you keep on going backwards and forwards. Just take that off there a minute, until you've got your piece, your base, the correct size as was it's 1/2 inch shorter than your actual pot. Then what you have to do, I'm just trying to make sure I've got enough yarn there. You make sure you crochet all the way to the very end of your row, and then in the very last row you want to do one more single crochet. I'm saying single crochet, that's if you're in the US. If you're in the UK, this is actually a double crochet. I'm sorry, I should have said earlier. And then you want to work down the side of your actual, whether it's going to be a rectangle or a square, and you just keep on working. Whoops, you work down the sides all the way to the very end, and when you get to the very end row, I'm nearly there, I need some yarn. Put that into there. When you get to the very last row, which is the row, it's your chain row, you want to put 2 single crochet if you're in the US, or double crochet in the UK, in the corner. And you keep on going all the way around, and you just keep going around and around and around, and make sure you put 2 in each of the corners. Okay, so then it'll build up to be able to give you this shape. And as it builds up, it does start to take more of an oval shape or a round shape, but that's perfectly okay, because once you've got your actual pot inside, as you can see, it fits nice and comfortable. You just got to keep on going. And this one, I actually made it so it was 8 rows high. And I'm just going to get my other one here, because this one, as you can see, this is a round bowl. But if I take my bowl out of it and you have a look, it was actually a square. Okay, so if you, oh, sorry, there's a rogue hair there. So what you want to do, excuse my old battered bowl, but if you're going to be making one for the round one, what you need to do when it comes to measuring there, let's just undo this and start again. Okay, and I'll just make myself a chain. I'm going to go for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just doing 10 just to show you to start off with. When I actually do the stretch, you can see it only just covers the edge of it. So it needs to be a little bit longer, because you want it to come down to about 1/3 of the way down when you actually make your chain for this one. I will be honest, the one that I made was actually slightly too short. So I've just added a couple of extra chains on so we can see. And I'll just go probably another chain or 2. And so once you're sure, you're happy that that's going to be a good size. Okay, so that then the actual, as you actually then put it inside the actual carrier, because as you can see, look, it's formed that naturally round shape anyway. And there you can see all I've done is just literally single crocheted or double crochet if you're in the UK, backwards and forwards. But what I'm going to share with you is, if you're going to make one for the circle, you need to make sure that when you actually add the handles on it, that these need to be more to the corners on a circle one than they actually, I mean, you can see, look, that is slightly smaller, but once you put the pot in, the weight of everything holds it all into place, so it's all nice, and it makes it so that it fits nicely. Yeah, so that's what you, oops, I made it slip over. So, and if you're going to do the rectangular parts, you need your handles to be closer to the edges rather than to the centre. I've tried to make mine be as equal as I can, but this is because of the weight distribution, because obviously when you put in the weight of something inside it, it's going to be very heavy. So I'm just going to show you. I've got a bag of flour here, which is 1.5 kilo bag of flour. Put that into the pot, okay, just so that we can see with the weight of everything. And these are the handles, and you can see that this copes quite easily. I can't lift it any higher because my camera's in the way, but that'll cope, these handles cope. So I'm going to share with you how to make the actual handles. So I'm going to use this chain that I've already started. Okay, so for my smaller parts, I've done a chain of 50, but I have actually made a slightly larger one where I did a chain of 70. So I'm just going to just randomly do some more chains on this, just so that I can show you what you need to do. So you make your chain. See, this is my chain of 50, which clearly it isn't. And put that there. And you get your yarn. And you start again with your twist or your slip knot. And then you get your chain and you look at the back of your chain. And then in the back of your chain, you can see like the little bumps that go over. You want to be able to put your hook where that bump is. So you're going underneath one strand. The first one that you put on is a little bit fiddly, and you're just going to do a slip stitch if you're in the US, or a single crochet if you're in the UK, and you just make that stitch. It is a bit tight to get going, but This is the strongest chain. I know out of all of the stitches that you do, this is the strongest version, and this one has got the smallest amount of actual stretch once you've actually made it. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on showing you how to make this, just so you can see what it looks like on both sides, so that you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm just going to go to there. Excuse me. So you can see that's the side that I've been working on, and this is this side, the other side where I haven't worked on, and this side is a flatter side than this side. This one's got a little ridge going up it, and that one is more flat. Okay, so here's the other one that I've been making so that I can show you this one. And what you do is you actually sew the flat end of your handle needs to go towards the actual carrier. Okay, I'm just going to thread this onto my needle, and let's see if I can do this one on camera. This one's fiddly because it's really chunky yarn, and it's harder to get through the eye of the needle, but be patient, we can do it. I might have to just do one strand at a time. That's one piece through. Well, I'm making a bodge of this, aren't I? I'm not. Put that one through there as well. So I've got both of my strands through my needle, and then I've got to make sure that, because you've got to make sure once you've sewn it to one side, make sure you don't twist it, because you want it to be able to sit nice and flat. And then the way that I did it, just to try and make sure that it's even, is I've counted from the corner. So you're looking at your lines there. I want my line to be over here, and I want to make sure that I've got it the correct way round. It's all not twisted, is it? There, and just look for the opposite one just to make sure it's looking good. And then what I did is I actually, it's that rogue hair, it's just decided to go everywhere. I used, if this is just a bulldog clip, I think it's called a bulldog clip, just clip that just to hold that, just so that it's holding it so that it's straight for me. And then I'm going to go into the, you know, this, you've got these holes that you've made at the bottom. You want to go into there. This is a bit fiddly to try and show you on camera. And I'm coming up, and I want to go through the actual side of the handle. This is a little bit stiff, but you need to make sure that when you do your stitching that you do it really, really nice and tight, because the stitching is the thing that's going to actually hold all of the weight at the end of the day. That's not quite straight. Let me just move that a bit. There. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like it's just a running stitch, and just go backwards and forwards, and make sure that this stitch is really, really nice and tight. And so when you do your stitching, you're going to come one side first. Can you see that? I can't tell. I've got my camera in a different position today because I've had to have everything higher up, and this is a fiddly bit to do, really. You know, if I make a mess of this, you'll all be laughing at me. But, and when you've done, now look, see what I did? I trapped it. Okay, don't trap yours when you're making yours. There we go, learn a lesson on camera. That means I've got to unthread my needle, and it was a pain to thread it in the first place. See if I can make a better effort of it this time. There. Oh no, that's splitting that yarn. That's, oh no, it's coming. There we go. So make sure you don't trap your handle while you're doing it. And what you do is, I'm just going to come back through this side. Have I trapped it again? There. Make sure I don't trap it. you don't actually you don't crochet. You're not crocheting at all. I'm not with it. What you don't sew all the way to the top. Okay, this is so that when you actually make your handles, they flop over naturally to the outside, so that then they're not actually in your food. I'm just going to undo that because I've made a mess. Okay, and so once you've sewn up one side, there, and then you come back, you can actually just use one of your strands, so that you just do one strand at one side and then one strand down the other side. The choice is yours. I'm doing it double. I don't know, probably made my life harder doing it that way around. I don't know if you can still see, but then you go all the way back to the bottom, and once you get back to the bottom of it there, you need to then start working up the other side. So this makes your handle as tight as you possibly can have it, because at the end of the day, if you've gone to all of that effort, whether it's to make a nice lasagna or cottage pie or a tray bake or something like that, the last thing you want is your handle breaking. Okay, so you want it to be as tight as it possibly can be and as secure as it can be, so that your food is definitely going to be, you know, at the end of the day, you want to go and you're trying to, I suppose you're trying to impress somebody, but which you are when you're making I've got 3 things coming out, look, and one doesn't want to come out. There is an end somewhere. Oh, this is just like the worst ever thing. Which one is it then? It's like, oh, and you know what, this is one of those things where I can't redo it. And how to make the worst ever video in your life, Karen. Look at that, can you believe that? You can see the end there, look. See, these are what things that happen in real life, and I can't do that. So I'm going to have 3 strands going through now on my way back down, because I can't do anything else. I've just got to make do and come back. There we go. And so this handle's definitely secure with all of those things in it, and honestly, you can see I've made that one look a mess compared to that one, haven't I? But that's just because, I suppose it's because I'm on camera and I'm trying to make things be nice, and I've just bodged it. But I could restart the video, but I think, do you know what, I think I should actually leave it and show you, you know, so that you can actually see, you know, it doesn't matter how hard sometimes you try, you do make mistakes. And the only way I can really rectify this one is to undo all of this, and it's going to be a nightmare to undo on camera, so I'm not even going to try. So I'm going to rapidly move on. I'm going to leave my needle there because it's stuck. I'm going to have to cut it out, but I'm going to share with you that this one actually fits an oval casserole pot or a carrier, you know, or a tray of some sorts. Okay, and it's got the lovely handles so that this one also holds it, and I know that this one's definitely not going to fall off because it's sewn on so hard. But it does give me the chance though just to say thank you, Nancy, for actually remaking the request. I'm sorry I didn't make the best video. This is, you know, this is probably one of my worst videos I've ever done, but I'm going to let it go, okay, because like I said, life doesn't always go smoothly. So, but I am going to share with you these beautiful covers that I've made. This is actually a design I've been working on for a little while. I'm just going to move that one out of the way. I'm going to call it my Meteor collection because I was inspired because I saw a meteor. And this one is for the round one. And look, we've got little curves that fit into the right place there, so that you've got beautiful covers. And so hopefully when I go to make this video where I'm going to show you how to make these covers, you will actually, it'll be a better video, okay? So Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. I do read them, and obviously it's like when I get a lovely request like this, it was just an opportunity to be able to share how to make something. I mean, honestly, it isn't. The carrier is a nice thing when you do it properly. I made a lovely result of this one, but I think that, like I say, it's like, you know, because I wasn't on camera and I didn't have the well, if something goes wrong when you're not on camera, you can sew everything all nice and neatly. So I've got to live and learn from that one, and hopefully you'll all forgive me that I've actually made a few mistakes. So yep, I think I've done everything that I wanted to share with you. And maybe I should just do one more sneaky preview of the meteorite patterns, which has got beautiful little baby poncho. That one's just all done in pink. And my other little tiny one, because I know that you love to do these little small things, I've actually made a little jacket. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing, and hopefully you'll come back and you'll be able to see me making these meteor designs in another video. Thanks again, bye for now.